But also the Speaker of Parliament, Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Tayewa, stated that all he knows is that is street talk and he has no proof of anything such as that. However, the opposition members led by the acting leader of opposition, Honorable Mwanga Chivumbi, insist that that cash bonanza is really indeed real, and fellow colleagues from the parliament, from the house, received that cash bonanza. Now, some netizens took it to social media to actually suggest that how about opposition MPs receive the cash bonanza anyways and take it to their constituencies to improve the livelihoods of their constituencies. Wonder what you think about that, but let me bring Olive to that question to share her perspective. Good morning, Olive.
Well, good morning. Good morning, Julie.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
It's a Friday at TGIF.
Yes, thank God it is a Friday. I am happy that we've come to the end of the week, at least the end of the work week. Good morning, viewers. Thank you so much for being a part of Good Morning Uganda. We do this every single morning, Monday to Friday, and you're always here to share your views regarding the so many conversations that we normally have with different stakeholders. My name is Olive Monica Najuma. Now, regarding the cash bonanza, the alleged cash bonanza, I think I share the same mindset with some netizens that are suggesting that some members of parliament from the opposition should accept this alleged money, in case it is there, and take it to their constituencies. I agree with that, because when you don't take the money and you take it back, other people have already taken it. Let's say if the money is there, because according to sources from the government, they're alleged. Saying this is street talk. But Julie, we've had the same allegations over the years, and I would like to take you back to the front page of the Daily Monitor of the 9th of April 2025, where they mentioned there is the 100 million from to members of parliament, each member of parliament apparently, in 2025. But the same is alleged to have happened in December 2023, where members of parliament were reportedly given 100 million each to pass 5.2 trillion supplementary budget. But the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Aneta-Among, dismissed these reports as mere lies aimed at maligning the House and its leadership. Then there is 2022, where it was alleged that in June 2022, members of Parliament had received 40 million shillings bribe each to pass a supplementary budget which contained 77 billion for State House even before the budget for the 2022-23 financial year was read. Then we have allegations coming all the way from 2005, where it was called the term limit removal, where each member of parliament pocketed 5 million shillings to remove the term limits, paving the way for President Museveni to stand again in 2006. And then in 2011, allegations of a cash bonanza again, where opposition members of parliament in the 8th parliament rejected 20 million shillings each that had been wired into their accounts 2 months to the end of their tenure for Prosperity for All mobilization. And lastly, allegations in 2017, where 29 million, where Parliament in November 2017 handed each of the members of Parliament 29 million to use for consultation during the controversial move by the ruling NRM party to amend Article 102B of the Constitution to remove the age cap of 75 years for one to stand for the presidency. And in some of these, it was actually proved to be true that there was money that had been given out, and it was evidenced by some of the members of parliament from the opposition giving back these funds. So is it the same thing this time? I don't know, because government has said they have not given out any money. But if it were true, Julie, Ugandans have been saying, look at Mulago Hospital getting less money than Uganda Revenue Authority. Uganda Revenue Authority is in the budget framework paper is slated to receive 18 billion shillings for medicines of their staff. And then Mulago Hospital is slated to receive 17 billion shillings. A hospital.
That I guess speaks into priorities.
Exactly.
As a nation.
Exactly. And Ugandans are saying, look at this wastage. We have other dire spaces where we need to put this money. Yesterday, you and I were looking at a report which indicated that 5 sub-counties in Mubende district do not have secondary schools. How about we get some seed schools in the event that this money is indeed there or has been released to members of parliament?
Surely, indeed, 100 million multiplied by the number of MPs who are receiving this money, it's a lot of money. And ideally could be spent on pressing needs of the nation, because a lot is lacking. And we really hope that it's just street talk, as Parliament has outrightly put it. We really hope it's just street talk. But just in case it is, you wonder, should MPs really, as netizens suggested, and as Olive agrees, which I think I would share the same sentiments, let them take the money and actually use it for their constituencies. But someone else would have a school of thought that would 2 wrongs make it right? What if this money, in regards to accountability, does not make sense? Yet you claim that you took it to cater to your constituency, but in actual sense, by the books, it does not make sense for you to have taken it. You are regarded as someone participating perhaps in corruption. I don't know. Ultimately, may the right thing be done, and may the nation of Uganda come first to everyone who has a place of service. But that being said, today is a Friday. Friday is always one that lightens your mood and lightens it in a way that inspires you at the same time. So a little later on, we shall be having a conversation on gender-based violence and divorce rates in Uganda with Pastor Cyrus Road, but also a lot of music to showcase for you, and great conversation at that, because it's a Friday. Want to lighten you but inspire you as you go into your weekend. But first, let's find out what is on the local scene.
Well, on the local scene, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has called for a shift from conventional humanitarian aid to sustainable agriculture-driven support for refugees in Uganda. During a meeting at State House in Entebbe, the president engaged with senior officials from the United Nations World Food Programme, focusing on strategies to improve refugee livelihoods through effective land use and organized farming. Uganda remains one of the world's largest refugee hosting nations, currently home to over 1.8 million refugees and asylum seekers, mainly from South Sudan, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Burundi. President Museveni proposed reorganizing refugee settlements into compact planned communities, thereby freeing up land for communal agriculture. He cited Nachivale refugee settlement, covering 71 square miles, as an example of land that could be transformed into productive farmland, benefiting both refugees and host communities. World Food Programme Executive Director Ms. Cindy McCain praised Uganda's progressive refugee policies and agricultural potential, expressing optimism about new approaches to boost food production and community resilience. World Food Programme Uganda Country Director Marcus Pryor also commended the strong partnership between the World Food Programme and the government of Uganda, particularly the Office of the Prime Minister. And moving on, over 30 members of parliament from the opposition have signed a document condemning the alleged distribution of 100 million shillings reportedly paid out of the classified budget to members of parliament. The Member of Parliament for Butambala constituency, Muhammad Muwanga Chivumbi, confirmed that this was a resolution reached during a meeting of the opposition caucus. They condemned the action, agreeing to sign the document and prepare a list that will be made public in the media on Monday next week. In more news, members of parliament have emphasized the need to allocate 10% of the national budget to agriculture in line with the resolutions of the recent CAADP 2024 Kampala Declaration. The move is aimed at transforming Africa's agri-food systems into a sustainable and inclusive future. The House was considering the report from the Parliamentary Committee on Agriculture regarding the ministerial policy statements for the upcoming financial year 2025-2026. And lastly, the Uganda Registration Services Bureau, URSB, has held its 8th annual insolvency conference, bringing together legal and business experts, including members of the judiciary, to discuss strategies for balancing financial stability, recovery, and investment. The conference was held at the Sheraton Hotel in Kampala under the theme Balancing Financial Stability, Recovery and Investment Strategies. During the high-level engagement, URSB Registrar General Mercy K. Kainowisho emphasized the importance of professionalism and governance in business management. She noted that many businesses collapse due to poor leadership and lack of qualified personnel. Kainowisho also highlighted URSB's success stories, noting that through various interventions, they have sensitized over 1,000 businesses on market sustainability, intellectual property management, and proper business exit strategies. The Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Tayewa, who officiated at the event, urged Ugandans to register their businesses, stressing the need for legal recognition, access to credit, and protection of business identity. The annual conference served as a platform to strengthen partnerships between URSB, the judiciary, and the private sector as part of efforts to support business recovery and promote financial resilience. Well, that does it for our local news.
Thank you, Olive. And moving on to elsewhere in the world, the UK government has announced a further £450 million of military support to Kyiv as the UK and Germany prepare to host a meeting of 50 nations in Brussels. Defense officials are convening to pile pressure on Russian President Vladimir Putin and force him to end his invasion of Ukraine. UK Defense Secretary John Healey said the package includes funding for hundreds of thousands of drones, anti-tanks, mines, and repairs to military vehicles. About £350 million will be provided by the UK, with extra funding from Norway via the UK-led International Fund for Ukraine. And the package includes £160 million to provide repairs and maintenance to vehicles and equipment the UK has already provided to Ukraine. A close-fight military aid package with funding for radar systems, anti-tank mines, and hundreds of thousands of drones worth more than £250 million is also part of the package, the government said. And Healey said the work of the group is vital to put Ukraine in the strongest position possible. Now, moving on to Iran and UN. Iran has warned that it could expel UN nuclear watchdog inspectors from the country in response to external threats, as U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the United States and Iran would hold direct talks in Oman on Saturday to discuss Iran's nuclear program. Now, relations between the two nations have been tense since U.S. President Donald Trump said in February he was imposing a maximum pressure campaign. On Wednesday, Trump said military action was absolutely possible against Iran if talks between Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi and U.S. Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff end without a deal. Iran has consistently denied seeking to acquire nuclear weapons. On Thursday, a senior advisor to Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei warned that Tehran could expel UN nuclear watchdog inspectors in response to external threats. In Washington, State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce warned Iran against making a misstep. Now, coming to the continent, Africa, Tanzania's opposition leader Tundu Lissu has been charged with treason a day after he was arrested following a rally he held in the south of the country. The charge is connected to his nationwide campaign pushing for electoral reform under the slogan, "No reforms, no election." The country is due to go to the polls in October, when Lissu is expected to challenge President Samia Suluhu Hassan. When Samia first came to power in 2021, after the death of her predecessor, John Magufuli, she was praised for reversing some of his more authoritarian tendencies. But she has since been criticized after some opposition members have been targeted with arrests and abductions. In a series of public appearances, Lissu has been saying that there is no chance of a free and fair election in 6 months unless there are reforms. And the leader of the Chadema party wants the makeup of the Electoral Commission to change. He has argued that it should not include people appointed directly by Samia. And the authorities have described the campaign as inciting the public against the holding of the general election. Lissu has been arrested several times in the past. Well, that's it from the foreign scene, but let's have a look at what's in the press.
Well, in the press, we start off with the New Vision with the headline, NRM sets tough rules for losers in primaries, candidates to sign consent forms. And also in the New Vision, businessman loses appeal in a 10 billion shillings loan case. Still in the New Vision, why new curriculum will take up to 10 years to be absorbed. And Defense Katanga, Defense objects to Form 17A as exhibit. Also, children have been rescued from River Nyamwamba. A team comprising police officers, Red Cross volunteers and residents successfully rescued 3 children who are trapped in the flood water of River Nyamwamba in the Nyakasanga, Kasese municipality. The current torrential rains have significantly elevated water levels in major rivers in Kasese, displacing hundreds of people. You will find more details regarding that in the New Vision. Now moving on to Daily Monitor, plot to kick youth out of district jobs. According to the Daily Monitor, it says age limit, a proposal by the Ethics and Integrity team, says District Service Commission jobs should be reserved for only retired professionals in a bid to stem widespread corruption ostensibly orchestrated by younger people. Still in the Daily Monitor, a moment of truth for Besigye after 147 days in jail. Then Kabaka at 70, Kabaka Mtebi's decades of progress amid tensions. And then the Daily Monitor highlights jobs, exciting opportunities at Madivani, HES and other companies. Still in the Daily Monitor, IGG probes Makerere Vice Chancellor's papers. And in Scoop, it's deep. Gloria Iradukunda from class to Scooping Film Awards. Also, opposition legislators at a crossroads over 100 million bailouts. And the Lizard says, while the giver is smiling.
Very interesting. Now let's have a look at what is in the Citizen, and the story there is Lissu charged with treason, spreading false information. And following his arrest in Ruvuma region on Wednesday, opposition leader Tundu Lissu was whisked away to Dar es Salaam, where he was arraigned yesterday on several charges, including treason and publishing false information. And there is a story of a team of at least 200 lawyers, including several prominent international attorneys, have been assembled to defend Lissu. That is in the Citizen. Still in the Citizen, key issues as Bunge debates PMO budget, and a story on the geopolitical upheavals push up gold prices. That is in the Citizen. Now there is a report how to prevent arbitrary internet restrictions. And also there, experts back Tanzania's cybersecurity push amid growing digital threats. But also in business, in the Citizen, agriculture, government to establish banana processing cluster. That's it in the Citizen, but let's also look at the Daily Nation. Echoes of war, shame that a play lampooning and an imaginary rogue regime was bound to upset the government of the day came as no surprise. That is in the Daily Nation. But also high crime there, murder tapes, 21 hours of carnage in Rural over water, and a jobs roll, scandals rock state-run overseas jobs scheme, and matters education. MPs scrap policy barring teachers from home schools, and why police promotions pay rise, housing are in limbo. But also in the Daily Nation, Kome top judges win first round against JSC. And that's it in the press.
Well, we have a press briefing from the Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, and this is addressing the new developments in the physical planning area. Parliament has passed a law for the order lines of the environment in which Ugandans live under the Physical Planning Amendment Act number 2 of 2020. The following provisions as at 10th January 2020 are now put into law. It shall be an offence to litter. Every person in Uganda is now under obligation to refrain from littering or dropping rubbish outside the litter bins. On conviction, the offender will be subject to a fine of up to 2 million shillings or imprisonment for a period not exceeding 1 year or both. The law makes it mandatory for every premises to have a litter bin or garbage bin. It is an offence, the conviction of which will attract a fine of up to 2 million shillings or imprisonment not exceeding 1 year or both. People found of throwing rubbish out of moving vehicles or sugarcane loaders who leave sugarcane leaves heaped in the road, or vendors who leave pineapple peelings heaped all over are all subject to the fines under the law. Every house must have its exterior painted regularly. It is now an offence to have one's house look untidy and dirty. It is an offence if one does not paint their premises regularly. It is also an offence not to slash the green patch at one's premises. This offence attracts a fine of 2 million shillings or imprisonment not exceeding 1 year or both. If there is a green compound at your premises, it should be regularly slashed. At the front of the business premises, the owner must provide pavers and maintain cleanliness. It is an offence not to do so. Owner of premises must place a sign with street and plot name on the plot as prescribed by the local government. Contravention of any other above makes on conviction to a fine not exceeding 960,000 shillings or imprisonment not exceeding 2 years or both on first conviction. If someone is convicted a second time, the fine goes up to 500,000 shillings or imprisonment for every day of the offence. If someone is a perpetual offender, the penalty is computed on a daily basis. That is from the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development.
Very interesting. It's interesting that something as obvious as owning a bin now has to be asserted by the law. Well, but also the other interesting part is having to paint one's house. Shall the authorities facilitate the financing of that?
Well, I mean, you know, to a degree, I am actually on the authorities' side, because I am of the view that because imagine yourself, you're sandwiched between two beautiful houses,
yes,
and yours looks like in Luganda nga Katonda Jatapa. So you have to do something, otherwise I was going to say you deserve the penalty, but we have to take responsibility.
That's true.
When it comes to trash, if we are to avert the floods, if we are to experience a clean city, I support everything that is in this press briefing. I hope there will be enforcement. Though I've seen people being arrested this
yes,
week, standing in the grass by KCCA.
Yes, I know. So do not trespass in KCCA in the Kampala Green whatsoever.
Yes.
But up next is an inspirational song for today, this Friday, and it's from Bien and DJ Edu. Too Easy. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda. Thank you so much for choosing UBC TV. Now, highlights from this week is the baseline education census that kicked off this week. And in an effort to count every learner in Uganda, from primary school, pre-primary, all the way up to university. The objectives being to enhance education statistics, to enhance school infrastructure data, to monitor technical and learning resources, as well as improve the education system in general. And this exercise that kicked off on the 7th of April will end by 30th June 2025. But also another highlight was the cash handout of 100 million cash bonanza to members of parliament, which is alleged at that. And really, it has a lot of conversations on social media, many news outlets, but also the Speaker of Parliament, Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Tayewa, stated that all he knows is that is street talk, and he has no proof of anything such as that. However, the opposition members, led by the acting leader of opposition, Honorable Muwanga Chivumbi, insist that that cash bonanza is really indeed real, and fellow colleagues from the parliament, from the house, received that cash bonanza. Now, some netizens took it to social media to actually suggest that how about opposition MPs receive the cash bonanza anyways and take it to their constituencies to improve the livelihoods of their constituencies. Wonder what you think about that, but let me bring Olive to that question to share her perspective. Good morning, Olive.
Well, good morning. Good morning, Julie.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
It's a Friday at TGIF.
Yes, thank God it is a Friday. I am happy that we've come to the end of the week, at least the end of the work week. Good morning, viewers. Thank you so much for being a part of Good Morning Uganda. We do this every single morning, Monday to Friday, and you're always here to share your views regarding the so many conversations that we normally have with different stakeholders. My name is Olive Monica Najuma. Now, regarding the cash bonanza, the alleged cash bonanza, I think I share the same mindset with some netizens that are suggesting that some members of parliament from the opposition should accept this alleged money, in case it is there, and take it to their constituencies. I agree with that, because when you don't take the money and you take it back, other people have already taken it. Let's say if the money is there, because according to sources from the government, they're alleged, saying this is street talk. But yes, Julie, we've had the same allegations over the years, and I would like to take you back to the front page of the Daily Monitor of the 9th of April 2025, where they mentioned there is the 100 million from to members of parliament, each member of parliament apparently, in 2025. But the same is alleged to have happened in December 2023, where members of parliament were reportedly given 100 million each to pass 5.2 trillion supplementary budget. But the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, dismissed these reports as mere lies aimed at maligning the House and its leadership. Then there is 2022, where it was alleged that in June 2022, members of Parliament had received 40 million shillings bribe each to pass a supplementary budget which contained 77 billion for State House, even before the budget for the 2022-23 financial year was read. Then we have allegations coming all the way from 2005, where it was called the term limit removal, where each member of parliament pocketed 5 million shillings to remove the term limits, paving the way for President Museveni to stand again in 2006. And then in 2011, allegations of a cash bonanza again, where opposition members of parliament in the 8th parliament rejected 20 million shillings each that had been wired into their accounts 2 months to the end of their tenure for Prosperity for All mobilization. And lastly, allegations in 2017, where 29 million, where Parliament in November 2017 handed each of the members of Parliament 29 million to use for consultation during the controversial move by the ruling NRM party to amend Article 10
can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda. Thank you so much for choosing UBC TV. Like I mentioned earlier, we are having a conversation on the rising cases of gender-based violence and divorce in Uganda. And in studio is an amazing person to talk into this. He is a pastor, he is an encourager, a champion for marriage. But before we even get to him, allow me paint a background for you in regards to the statistics of gender-based violence in Uganda. For starters, the prevalence rate as of 2022 by the Uganda Demographic and Health Survey indicates that approximately 56% of Ugandan women have experienced some form of physical violence since the age of 15, and 22% have actually faced sexual violence. But let's look at the regional variations. The Acholi sub-region, according to this report, is the highest incidence of GBV with a 78% prevalence rate and 64% sexual violence, often linked to a lot of alcohol intake and cultural norms. But looking at the economic impact of gender-based violence, and gender-based violence for starters, it's a gender-based violence imposes a substantial economic burden on Uganda with an estimated annual loss of exceeding 31 trillion Uganda shillings, accounting for about 15% of the nation's GDP. And these costs come from things that might be looked at as simple but are actually major. That is healthcare expenses, legal expenses, lost productivity which could come from cases like death. All right? Now, fatalities on this are of an average of 223 women and girls losing their lives to gender-based violence. But statistics on divorce, you should note that specific national statistics on divorce rates are very limited. So there's just an availability of regional insights and economic factors playing into divorce, as well as society's ideas playing into divorce. Now, with that background, please feel free to join in. 0709602592 is the WhatsApp number that you get to engage this conversation in. And in studio with us is Pastor Cyrus Rode. He is the lead and host of Marital Bliss, a show that airs here on UBC TV every single Sunday. And he's here to speak into this particular one, the rising cases of gender-based violence and divorce rates in Uganda. Good morning, Pastor Rode.
Good morning. How are you, Julie?
Very well, thank you. So good to have you.
It's a pleasure to always be here.
How is ministry?
Ministry is very good.
Glory to God.
Very good. I'm doing what I'm called to do, and nothing really makes you feel at home like that.
Fulfilling, right? Mm-hmm. Amazing. Now, with the rising cases of gender-based violence, let's start from, well, we want to look at it from the spiritual insights as well as practical insights, because many a times the church is accused of being impractical, right?
Yeah.
So let's start from your perspective on the increasing rates of gender-based violence and divorce in Uganda.
Gender-based violence and divorce in Uganda. One reality that we need to face or that we need to accept is that I love the word you've used, gender. Many times we can say gender-based violence, but then we don't really look at that word, gender, because everything is going to begin from there, that word gender. What is gender?
Gender is the ideation of male and female.
Male and female.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. So the violence, that is the use of force or power or threats to cause physical harm or literally subject another into a direction you want them. Okay? So you're using the violence. Now, if this is gender-based violence, then the real problem begins with the word gender. When God created the universe and created the human beings, the first thing he did, after doing all these animals and whatever, then he said, let's make man in our own image. And in the image of God, he created them male and female. Now look at that. And he said, and he blessed them saying, you can have dominion. So the dominion or the authority is not given to one gender, it's given to two. You can have dominion. Not the men have dominion or the women have dominion. He says you can have dominion. Who are the you? The male and the female. Why do I bring it this way? Because when that happens, everything is flowing very well until man disobeys God. When man disobeys God, first and foremost, man messes up. He hits or does what he was told not to do. When that happens, the woman gets in trouble. I'd like you to understand, I'm laying out a foundation here. I'd like you to understand that when the woman, we know the story, and the woman, the snake spoke to the woman and then picked up the fruit. When the woman picks up the fruit and eats, nothing happens to her. Have you realized that?
Yes, yes.
Nothing happens to her. And then when she gives the husband, and the husband eats, the husband falls, then the woman falls. The mess starts. The mess does not start when the woman messes up. No, it starts when the man messes up.
So when the man leaves his position.
Thank you. When the man steps out of his position, he kills the woman. That's how this whole thing is. So sin comes into the world. This is what happens. Before, they were equal. Right now, when the fall comes, the battle for the sexes begins. No, I'm bigger than you. I'm greater than you. We are not equal. We are not equal. I am higher. You're lower. I'm a man. You're a woman. I'm a man. I'm a man. I'm the boss of the house. I'm the head of the house. I'm in charge over here. And you are nothing. And that happens to a point that when God comes in, says, what's wrong with you guys? The man says, look over here. It's the woman you gave me. I really ain't got a problem, but the woman you gave me. I'm so good. I'm perfect, but the woman. And isn't that the talk we have every day? No, if these women,
Yes.
we really come against the female.
Even in their creation.
Even in
Women
creation.
are so emotional.
Women are so emotional. Where do you get all of that? Men are so emotional. You see, this emotionalism is all about immaturity, the failing to harness your emotions. It's not about gender. It's the failure to harness your emotions that gets people thinking emotional. Why do men, isn't it being emotional when you just yell at people? Isn't it being emotional when you can't control your anger?
You can't listen.
You can't listen. Isn't that emotional? But now the problem is society and culture is telling us men and women are not equal because the first man believed it after the fall. And he even named the wife Eve. Mm-hmm. Have you noticed that actually God never created Adam and Eve? God created Adam. When man fell, man named the woman Eve. Mm-hmm. When the man named the woman Eve, that's the point. What was he doing? Saying, now that we've fallen, I don't think we're still equal. You made me fall. Mm-hmm. So this is what I'm going to do. In order to remain in control, I need to prove to you that we are not equal. So I'm going to give you a name. But Adam had only been commanded to name animals. So when he says, I'm going to give you a name, what is he doing? I'm placing you at the level of animals. I can rule over you.
Ouch.
Yeah, I'm going to rule over you. So the whole violence, why do I lay out this foundation? The whole violence begins with man rejecting equality with a woman. Even now, why I was picked, some people may be saying, no, I'm the boss, we ain't equal. No, we ain't equal. That's the sinful nature. And because you don't accept the equality, then there is no equality at all. You're going to be fighting the other person to put them down. So all the beating, all the killing, the murders, all this is because the blame game, because I don't think we are equal. I am better than you. I'm greater than you. I'm a man. You're nothing. It's just a deception within us. In fact, many people, even in churches, don't believe that male and female are equal. But they got it from the fall when Adam fell, and he named the woman by placing her. Literally, he was saying, you're at the level of animals. So when it comes to gender-based violence, I lay out the foundation in that manner. As long as we do not accept equality, male and female are equal, before you even marry. In fact, the Bible is so clear. The couple that doesn't realize they're equal should not get married. The only revelation you need to get married is not, I need sex, so I better get married. No, I need children, so I better get married. No. That's why you get chaos. The only revelation you need to have before you get married that God permits is the revelation of equality. And he stood up and said, this is bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman. He was acknowledging equality. He was acknowledging equality. So without equality, the gender-based violence, look at the way you term it, gender-based. So everything, this violence erupts from the gender. Why does it erupt from the gender? Because somebody believes we are not equal. When you deal with the equality and you tell people we're equal, and forget about what culture is insisting, but look at the one who created you, said you are equal, then I can assure you there will not be gender-based violence. Because even in our churches, some people believe a woman is not supposed to stand on the platform.
True.
A woman is not supposed to preach. But the Bible is clear, in the last days I'll pour my spirit upon all flesh, your sons and daughters shall prophesy.
Let's flip the coin. Gender-based violence, what if it's the woman now perpetrating?
Yes, the woman perpetrating the violence, this is how it happens. You see, we're created in the image of God. We all have dominion by our image, okay? Because he says, I create them in the image of God so they may have dominion. So the dominion is within our image. Now, when you flip it, this is what happens. No human being humbly and gladly accepts oppression. No. When a human being notices they're being pushed down, they're being ruled over, the dominion in them begins pushing back. And they can push back so bad. Because we are not designed that way by God. We are designed to rule, but not to be ruled over. When somebody feels you're dominating them, they will push back. Look at the slaves in the U.S. and all those countries. When they felt, I ain't a slave, something in them, they started pushing back. And the nation had nothing to do but finally surrender. That's the nature of man, whether male or female. Now, when Adam named the woman Eve, she also said, I'm going to push back. So this whole thing about gender-based violence, it's not about, oh, the woman is doing this. What the woman is doing is a pushback. Because it all starts with us. The pushback has created stuff like feminism. It's a pushback out of anger. Feminism. Oh, that's gender-based violence. Feminism is not something, I know some people say, I'm a feminist, and they think it's something so super. No, it's violence. Feminism is violence, a pushback at the male domination, it's a pushback. So when it comes to what about the woman? Yeah, it doesn't matter whether you're a woman or a man. The reality is this: all of you are equal. And if that is not acknowledged, you're going to push back.
Wow, that is so profound, a very profound background there. And from what I'm taking home from this, it's the fact that a man left their position and caused all of this chaos, including the birth of feminism.
Yeah.
0709602592. We are talking about fixing marital dilemmas, and in there is the conversation on gender-based violence and divorce, the rising rates in Uganda. In studio with us, in case you're just joining us, is Pastor Cyrus Road, and Olive and I are having this conversation, delving deep into it, but you can be a part of it. Yeah, we know you have questions, you have opinions. Do share them so that Pastor Cyrus Road gets to speak into them as well. 0709602592. All right. So with that background, in your view, Pastor, has the church responded to gender-based violence and divorce in a way that it should, or there are things that the church is avoiding?
Number one, I believe that the church is running away from it. The church is avoiding it. The church will not deal with it. The church, and all that begins with us, the leaders in church. When our own marriages are falling apart, the next thing that happens, we all collapse. When our own marriages are falling apart, we begin falling apart, we begin collapsing. And that is where the problem is. When our own marriages are falling apart. That means we don't even know what we're doing. We claim to be servants of love because God is love. We claim to be servants of love, but we don't even know what love is. And that's why we're avoiding the topic. So what do? Oh, I'm going to just preach and tell you Jesus is coming, Jesus is coming. Hey, before he returns, we need to do some fixing over here. When it comes to marriage, we need to do this. But you see, when you find that we, the bishops, are having more than one woman, we sleep with a woman before marrying them, we sleep with a choir girl, we do this, and y'all in the congregation, you applaud us. You justify it because you're also finding a way where you can justify your own failures.
Wow.
So you're able to say, leave the pastor alone, let him enjoy. God wants him to have a good life. Leave the pastor alone. Leave the pastor alone. And in the same way, you can justify your own failures. But the truth is, the church has not done enough, but we're still ready to stand up and keep going and doing the best that we can to let people know that this whole gender-based violence must stop. And it begins with us accepting and acknowledging that women are equal when it comes to us. When it comes to gender, we're all equal before God. No one is bigger or greater than the other. We're all the same when it comes to gender.
Now,
Very interesting.
Pastor Cyrus, probably, if you may, why is it that in church, because recently I was reading a domestic violence story, someone shared their story, and they said the pastor told them that this is the devil fighting your marriage. The parents told her, this is the devil fighting your marriage. Everyone blamed the devil. Even the man himself said, it is the devil. So when we are in church, why is it? I know the devil is in this world. I know that the institution of marriage is under attack, but why is it that the church does not hold husbands accountable and tell them this thing that you're doing, it is wrong? Why can't we call a spade at some point instead of saying the devil made me, the devil this? I think sometimes the devil looks at us and says, that is not me.
Thank you. That's what the devil does. He's sitting out there saying, I just don't understand them believers of yours. They blame me for everything. That wasn't me.
Well, at least he's blamed for the corruption, and that is a corrupt nature, ultimately.
But you need to
you see, this is what happens.
Yes, that's true.
When it comes to the church, this is where we've totally gone off the rails.
Yes.
We think the devil makes me do this. The devil don't make anybody do that. You see, there is what they call demon possession and demon oppression. Okay? If somebody's demon possessed, that's like the man Jesus found living in the graveyard. That was demon possession. He's taken over, these demons take over somebody, so his spirit can no longer be in charge, and they now cause him to do whatever. So if anybody comes in that manner, that's possession. So the devil makes them. People who are married, no one is possessed. As long as you're married, there is no possession.
Each one is accountable.
Every one of you, you are being accountable. When you got married, it was not the devil making you speak.
Wow.
You spoke. I am taking you to be my lawfully wedded wife.
To love and protect, not to love and violate.
And beat.
Exactly. Not to destroy.
Yes.
You get me? Yes. So my purpose is to take you, if mama gave you, when you were round about this size, I got to take you, develop you, and become greater than what your parents ever did. So you come into the image of God. That is my responsibility as a man. But this is where the problem is. Most churches believe if I don't understand the word, it's ignorance. I don't understand the word. I don't understand demon possession and demon oppression. Okay? Oppression can just be something, but I still have power over that. I can tell the devil, get out of here and go. Let me take charge. But now this is what happens, Olive. We blame the devil for everywhere we are, and we don't take responsibility. That's deception. We believe we got some curses from our great-grandfather that keep hunting us down. Now, if my grandfather had 2 women, then I'm going to blame the devil or the curses. That's a generational curse that coming after me, because my grandfather had 6 women, so my father had 7.
It runs in the family.
It runs in the family. That's idiotic.
It's a cycle.
No. The power is here. When you get to God and you believe him, you have the power to say no to the devil. For the grace of God has appeared towards all men, and it teaches us to say no to worldly lusts and every oppression of the enemy.
So are you saying that some Christians use generational curses as a crutch?
Thank you.
To do evil, saying, well, this happened in my family. My father used to beat my mom.
So now I can beat you up too. It's my father. I'm trying to get this thing off me. No, you're lying. You are in deception. There is nothing like that. It's a choice you make. Beating your wife is a choice. Your wife don't make you beat her.
Disrespecting your husband is a choice.
Is a choice. Nobody makes you. Okay? So this whole thing about the devil, let's get the devil out of here. He has been defeated. How do you say he was defeated and then you come and say, but he's ruling in my life?
Now,
what's that?
Now, Pastor, there is something else. Studies have indicated that some of the traumas we experience as children can make us the person we become, can influence the persons that we become. And an example that is normally given is that, for instance, if a man grows up in a household with a single mother and sees that the woman is doing everything, this man might later on become the husband that doesn't provide, expecting the wife to do it because his mother did it. Because when we look at gender-based violence, it takes many shapes that I will get into later, but one of them is financial, where sometimes men do not provide or take away the woman's money. If your father used to do it, some men end up doing the same. Then the other thing is, if there was violence in the home and this boy or girl used to see the mom being beaten, some of them grow up to become abusers. And this also gets into another conversation regarding mental health and, awareness. So as the church, what are you doing to help people that are grappling with childhood traumas? Because I understand prayer helps all, but sometimes you have to break it down. That this thing that you're going through, yes, we can pray about it, but this is what triggered it and this is how we deal with it. Is the church actively addressing childhood traumas, mental health among men and women, or we are just preaching the gospel and making it a blanket thing, yet people are dealing with things that sometimes need professionals, because there is a reason why you're a pastor, but when you have malaria, you go to the doctor.
That's true.
And I feel like in the church, people are not being advised enough to seek professional help, when it comes to things like mental health or mental illness. So as the church, how are you coming in to address this situation?
That's a beautiful question. I love the way you've built it up, and how we come in, and then the childhood traumas that come, and from there we're able to be the people we are today. And so we look at how I was raised, and that's how I'm gonna be. You see, the beauty with the gospel is this: it doesn't matter how you were raised. When you come over and you get the true ministry of the gospel, it doesn't matter where you come from. The old has gone. The new has come. Our problem is that we say that we don't know how to literally propagate the new. So we keep holding on to the old. We don't know that we are new creations. We don't know that there's something new in me. I am not what I was in the old. And most churches will not teach this. They don't have a clue. We only say it, but we don't understand it. I'll tell you this. I grew up, my father had several women. He would go around and just go with any woman. You get that? When I was born, I never even knew my mother. I never knew her, never saw her. She died. You get me? But I want you to say this. With all of that around me, that was a time I was in church. I had just got in, but I would cry. Where's my mama? God, I need a mama. Oh, and all this kind of stuff. So that's the trauma coming in. And when all this was being done and being put, happening in my life, one time God told me, you better get up. Because I was saying, Lord, give me a father now. Because I really didn't have a father in my life. I didn't have a man to tell me this is how men ought to be. And God told me, get up, go and be a father. I said, no, it's me who needs a father. He says, no, you're being self-centered. Go and be a father. So the more we keep blaming our upbringing, we're just being self-centered. God has provided a solution, and it doesn't matter how much you were traumatized as a child. I went through every kind of trauma you can imagine, but God delivered me. I understood the word and started applying it. And from then, I made a decision. I said, I'm never going to be like my father. I want to be the man that I was created to be. And it became a goal. It became my focus. I checked the Bible. I found out what man ought to do, how man ought to be, who a woman is. How do you deal with her? Because you got to deal with her in knowledge. I had to gather the knowledge concerning a woman. I acknowledge that we are equals. So now the church needs to simply preach the gospel the way it ought to be. It can clean anybody.
In its simplicity.
In its simplicity. It can clean anybody. But the more we begin making it so complicated, and you say, or Julie, or Olive, are you going through whatever you're going through because let's talk about your mama. How was your mama? Oh, I want to know, how was your father? Did your father back at your mom? Oh yeah, that thing is following you up. We're just complicating things. We're just entering into, we think we really understand the spirit, but we're not understanding anything. We're just being idiotic. That is not in the Word of God.
Very, very interesting and profound. 0709602592 is the number to which you can get in touch and share your opinion or your question. And Mwesigwa Joseph says, good morning, Uganda. This is Joseph from Jinja Namulesa. Well, man never left his position. Man was forced to leave his position by the one who's entertained. Thanks. I wonder what the one who's entertained means.
I think he means the one who entertained the snake.
The snake.
So he's blaming.
He's blaming.
No, thank you.
Yes.
He's called
Joseph.
Mwesigwa Joseph.
Mwesigwa Joseph. The reality is this. This is where the problem is when it comes to us men. We always fear exposure. When somebody begins to expose me for my failures, my ego says, you better save yourself. Oh, it's going to be so hard. You better save yourself. And what do? It's not me.
It was the woman.
It was the woman. It wasn't me. We've even made songs. It wasn't me.
Yeah.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Shots fired.
You know, we come up with all this, and it's within us. But if a man can simply say, you know what? Ego aside, I am sorry. I accept responsibility. Because as long as he's going to blame, he will never acknowledge equality. He will never acknowledge equality. That's why he's able to say, I'm a man, I never apologize. I'm a man, I never apologize.
All right, Pastor, in your experience, do you think gender-based violence cases or even divorce are underreported?
They're totally underreported. Totally underreported. Even, I mean, many people are being oppressed. Do you know manipulation is also
Especially
violence?
in the perspective of religious
Yes.
insights.
Do you know manipulation is also violence?
Yes, it is emotional violence.
Emotional blackmail. All that's violence. And it all happens. I have a lawyer friend of mine, and he was telling me the other day that, hey, do you know that according to statistics within the courts, the divorce courts or family court, born-again Christians are leading in divorce cases? And I said, tell me. And he said, because, you see, the Catholics don't come in and do that divorce thing over here. The Muslims don't show up. Now, the born-agains are ranking #1.
Why so?
Why so? One, when these born-agains come over and they say, we are born again, and they say, we're living under grace, they don't understand what grace is. They think that's a time where you can be so stupid, and God says, wow, you deserve an accolade.
They abuse it.
Because you're being stupid. They don't understand. They think grace covers almost stupidity, and then I should not follow what God is saying. So we've totally ignored, we've gone to the extreme of lasciviousness, we've ignored what the Word of God says. So we've just become nothing but some kind of puppets. But we don't understand love. That's the bottom line. We claim to talk about love, but we don't understand what love is. Because in love, you can't divorce. In order for divorce to happen, hate must take over. But we say we are believers. In love, you can divorce. That's why if I'm going to divorce, I don't go to church.
You go to court.
I go to court. But if I'm talking about love, where do I go?
The church.
I go to church. But when I'm talking about divorce, where do I go?
The court.
The court. Because when I go to church and I say, I want a divorce,
The church won't allow.
the church won't allow. So what do? We say, God, stay outside. I want to take control of my life right now. And that's where we mess up. That's where things go ugly. We don't understand what love is. Today, if you ask a man, what do you mean when you tell a woman, I love you? What do you mean? They'll tell you, yeah, you know, she makes me feel good. You see, I love you has got nothing to do with how you make me feel or how I feel. No. I love you is just a conscious decision that I'm going to seek what is best for you at my expense.
A commitment.
It's a commitment. And as long as there's a commitment, tell me, how do I jump out of it?
So now on that note, what advice would you give to an individual who's facing gender-based violence in any form and is conflicted between separating with their spouse or staying, or maybe even divorcing with their spouse, from their spouse, or staying and is faced with relief?
You see, what the Bible clearly mentions, even 1 Corinthians chapter 7, he says that a man should not leave his wife, a wife leave the husband. But if that happens, they should stay unmarried.
Yeah.
They should stay what?
Unmarried.
Unmarried. And he said, that is not my own word. That's a command from the Lord. Not the Lord, the devil. This is the Lord Jesus. Should stay unmarried. So the Bible also acknowledges moments of separation. That these moments of separation can be moments of evaluation and looking, where did I go wrong? How did this happen? Give somebody a moment to get counseling, go through the evaluation and see where they have gone wrong. Let them acknowledge that and then repent. So you can have that moment where you say, okay, let me give you a moment to rethink.
So separation is different from divorce.
It's different from
So
divorce.
You can be away for a while, but
For a while, and then also using whatever means to see where the problem is. Invite an outsider. Usually when you've been inside so long, you may never be able to see the faults of one another. But if you invite an outsider, they're able to say, you change here, and let this take over.
very
Okay.
profound. Olive, I can see you have a lot going on through your mind. But you are watching Good Morning Uganda. Thank you so much for being on. And I see many of you are writing paragraphs and paragraphs of your opinion. Hopefully we are able to get into it. But or when Raymond says, good morning, UBC broadcaster, thank you all in the studio. The reality is human nature is full of struggle to achieve good life. Good life, I think. Negative can happen and positive can happen. So hope, faith, believing all gender should adopt. This is Owen from Bale. And Kakoba from Barara, you say, good morning. With marital dilemmas, gender equality is one of the causes of gender-based violence. It has a lot of causes, including poverty, loss of respect from one another, and lack of shared responsibility, among others. And you say that, in your opinion, are far away from that man's opinion, from the pastor's opinion, because the Bible says it clearly that the man is the head of the family. In this sense, equality comes in the sense that we are all human beings and grown-up people, but nature has differences between men and women. Interesting perspective.
Quite interesting, but ignorant. Can I just respond to this dude over here who says, the Bible says man is the head of the family. Actually, when you hear man is the head of the family, that's also ignorance, because the Bible says man is the head over the wife. And the word head is what you need to understand. Forget about the bodies. These bodies were all formed, it's about the dirt, okay? But our nature, we are spirits. And spirits get to a point whereby, it's the image of God. You need to define what head means. Head actually means the source, the origin, the supplier, the provider. Because your whole body is controlled by the head. So the head is not a title, it's a function. Now, most males hear the word head and they feel like, whoo, boss, big. Because they go to the dictionary and they say head. Head means boss, leader. No, that's the dictionary. When the Bible talks about head, it means origin. It means the source. Because the woman is called a babe because she's actually the man's babe. She came from the man. So the man is supposed to supply, take care of her, love her, nourish her, do this. All that is in Ephesians 5. So when you talk about headship, you're talking about function, not title. And my brother over there thought headship means title. So I'm the big, I'm the boss.
I'm
no,
stronger.
I'm stronger. No. Headship means what you do. You see, a fish rots from the head. Okay? When the head fails, or let me even use this situation. When you go to a hospital and they tell you this person is brain dead,
They're gone.
they're gone.
They're literally gone.
They're gone. And we have a lot of males who claim to be their head, but they're brain dead. They can't help the body.
And that's why the families are dwindling.
That's why the families are dwindling, collapsing, because the thing is brain dead. But it's saying, I'm the head. No, you're brain dead.
And I think, Pastor, to add to what you're saying, men normally speak about things like submission, and they say that women are supposed to follow. They like those words of submission. I am the head of the family. But when we look at it actually closely, women follow good direction. If you're the head, I need to trust that where you're taking me is actually the right way.
And women easily submit to love.
Exactly. We easily submit to love because Christ ordered the men to love their wives as he
He
loves
loves the church.
But a man will say, I am the head, but then when you ask for direction, he has no idea. And then when you question his lack of direction, then you are being insolvent, you're being disrespectful, and then he says you're being a nagging wife, to say the least. But if, for instance, we have children, they have to go to school. Okay, let me not even go there. I am pregnant. Yeah. I ask, what are we ready for the hospital? Do we have money for the hospital bill? Do we have money? I need money to buy the clothes for the baby. And then probably we buy the clothes, but the day reaches for us to go to the hospital, the lady delivers, and then you're angers. You can't clear the bill. But you said you're the head. And me questioning you over the period of 9 months, asking, do you have a way? And you saying, I'll figure it out, and then you've not figured it out, and then you're saying, I'm nagging you. Are you really being the head?
I'm brain dead. We have a lot of husbands who are brain dead, and they think they got a head. But the reality is this. If one of the ways men run away from responsibilities to literally play you by saying, you're being nagging. And then you say, I don't want to be nagging. I don't want to be nagging.
So you keep
I want to be a
silent.
nice wife. So you keep silent. No, you're not being
But deep
nagging.
down
You're just
you're
calling
dying.
somebody
To their position.
to their position. They moved away. They don't know what they're doing.
And now that you say that, Pastor, that means we're in our position as helpers. Because I'm literally pulling you into your position.
Let me define these two things. A helper and then submission. The word helper is not defined according to, in English, it will be a subordinate, somebody.
A subject.
A subject.
Yeah.
But according to the Bible, helper is a word used to define actually God himself. Because God says, I am your helper, O Israel.
The Holy Spirit is a helper.
The Holy Spirit is a helper.
Not a subordinate.
No.
So you're a strategist in the matter.
You are. You are. I love that word. You are a strategist. You know what is supposed to be done. That's why you are strong. Okay? The word helper in the Bible means the one who saves from danger, the one who delivers. Now, as a woman, you're able to see all this. And suitable means the one who's able to stand with you and also to support you when you're going in the right way, and the one who stands in front of you to oppose you when you're going the wrong way. And that's the role of a helper. If you don't do that, you're not being a helper. You can be all the female you want, but you're not being a helper.
So
You got to support and oppose.
what I'm thinking is what we oppose when we sense is
They're
actually
going
us
away.
standing in our position.
You're being in your position,
And
and
unfortunately, the men
that's
think
not
we
the
are
place
nagging.
you're supposed to. No, you're not nagging. You're
Because-
being in your position according to the
They,
word of
they
God.
think we're being, we are not being submissive. They think we're being hard.
Because, Julie, to many men, the description of submission is do not ask, do not hold me accountable, fall over backwards to please me, then you are wife material, then you are a good wife. You ask many men, he says, this woman gives me peace. When you ask them to explain the peace that they mean, it is those things.
She doesn't ask.
Don't go through my phone. Don't, okay,
Question
maybe
me.
I understand the phone bit to a degree. I could explain it in a way that the same way a woman, for instance, if someone is your wife, the Bible says that do not deny each other. But also you can discuss and say that today I am not in a good mood. And because he respects and loves you, he will understand. As long as you don't keep using it as an excuse, okay? The same way he respects your body when you say you're not in a good mood, it means that you can say, I need to use your phone. Not because there is something he's hiding in there, but just the respect of, this is his phone, can I use your phone? Without you just going behind his back to snoop into his phone, okay? That could be, I could understand the privacy when it comes to that. But most people say, don't go through my phone, because they know in that phone,
They're hiding a lot.
they actually normally say a man's phone is an onion. You check it, you're going to cry.
Very
No, no.
interesting.
No,
So,
no.
Pastor, let's now speak into...
Can I use just a minute?
Yes, please.
To just say, she mentioned something about women telling the women that you better be submissive. Submit.
Yeah.
Now, you see, when a man loves a woman, you don't have to tell her to submit.
It
She
will
easily
come
submits to
naturally.
love.
It comes naturally.
Yes.
Now, what men are doing when I'm failing at love, I turn to laws and rules.
I use
I use force, and that's the violence. Submit, just submit. Don't ask me, just submit.
It's like telling
And
a child, I am your mother. Every single minute you have to
Remind
remind them.
them.
It's because
I am
you're
your
not.
mother, because I've failed.
You,
You
failed
failed.
at acting your role as a mother.
That's
stepping
it.
into
And
your
then
role as a
also
mother.
the position of submission or the talk of submission. Submission is not a calling for women. Submission is what anybody who walks with God does. That's why Ephesians 5 says, submit one to another out of reverence for God. So if anybody fears God, they will not even go around saying, you better submit. No, they simply follow God. Because to connect with God, you need submission. So if any man says, I don't submit, I love, you're deceived. Submission is for anybody who follows God, because submission is an expression of love. Jesus and the Father are equal. Yet Jesus submitted himself. Submission is not for weak people, it's for strong people. Women are very strong beings. And God is saying, you have all the authority the man has, you have the power the man has, but you can submit one to another.
So men are supposed to submit to their wives, just like the wives are supposed to submit to the men.
That's biblical. Anything less than that is not from God.
Very
Okay,
interesting.
Julie, I would like to point us a bit,
Yes.
and I will have a question therein. I would like to
Quickly.
point us to the 2023 report on gender-based violence, which indicated that 15,184 cases were reported, and of these, 10,792 victims were female adults, and then the other number, 3,243, were male adults. Then juveniles, we had 644 girls and 505 boys. Now, we have taken so much time today talking about gender-based violence, but we have mainly focused on the physical abuse. But gender-based violence takes many shapes and forms. We have physical violence where punches are thrown, kicks, and what have you. But then we also have psychological and emotional abuse, and this is in the form of gaslighting.
Yes.
This is in the forms of humiliating someone with your words, lessening them, making them lose their
Blackmail.
self-esteem, blackmail, to mention but a few. Even just posting a woman's naked pictures or a conversation you had in private online is psychological and emotional abuse, and today many people are using that. You find partners, they have separated, and before you know it, the girl wakes up and all the things she shared with him in private are pasted all over the internet. Then we have sexual violence, and this one, it takes so many forms, Julie.
Yes.
We have rape, we have defilement, we have incest that no one wants to talk about, but we have many cases of fathers abusing their children. Now, they are not only defiling them, but this is also incest. Because why would you lay with your own child? It makes no sense. Then we have sexual harassment. This normally happens in places of work,
yeah.
and then at schools, institutions where we go to study. And then we have sexual exploitation. You want a promotion, you know what to do. Carpet interviews. These are all happening, and unfortunately, majority of these cases are experienced by women at the hands of men. Then we have female genital mutilation, which is still a culture norm that is hurting many girls in eastern Uganda. But then there is also the controversy on labia pulling,
yes.
elongation. Some people don't believe it is sexual harassment, but it actually is. And then, of course, we have early marriage. We still have experiences of many young girls married as early as 13, as 14. Why? Because the parents want dowry. And dowry, in some circles, is also viewed as a form of abuse, because you're negotiating me like...
You're selling me like property.
like property. And this is actually... So Julie, for me, I would like to ask the pastor, after looking at all of this and the ripple effects of all these things onto our society. We are raising children. We have younger men. We have younger women. We have toddlers. What message are we, what ripple effect do all these acts of violence have on our children in the long run? Because whenever we have these conversations, we see comments, and Julie will share more. We see comments where it is a blame game. It is the women. The women are doing this. The men are supposed to do this. But please help us educate the viewer out there what the ripple effect would be on tomorrow's generation if we do not put ourselves in check today.
Obviously, the ripple effect is going to be that we destroy a whole family, destroy a society, and then destroy a nation. And if men, and I repeat, if men do not take responsibility over all this mess, and we keep blaming the woman, I can assure you this is not going to change. The men need to take responsibility. If a man does their responsibility and begins acknowledging this woman is my equal, and understands what love is, there'll never be gender-based violence. There'll never be all this mess. It's all because we always get to a point and we want to blame, all the way from the Garden of Eden. So we quit blame, we shall heal the nation.
Now, let's look into a solution fixing marital dilemma. The men have done what they've done. Society has done what it has done. In the meantime, as men are taking up their positions, what should the women be doing?
You see, when men take up positions, the women just fall in place. That's how it works. Look at the Garden of Eden. When Adam took up his position, the woman fell in place. When he stepped out of position, the woman fell out. That's bottom line. Some people can say, some women are so evil, women are so wicked, women are. No. My responsibility is to clean you, wash you, remove every wrinkle, make sure you are clean, you are good. And when I do that, everything is okay. I'm not going to say, oh, women, start doing this, start doing this. No.
Very interesting.
It's about us, the men.
So ideally, my take home from all of this is men must take their position. That's it. Now, let me close with this. Owen Raymond in Bale City says, still in Ecclesiastes 4:9-11, I wish the pastor could speak into that. Now, Ecclesiastes 4:9-11 reads that two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Also, if two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone?
It's the two, and what makes all that happen is them acknowledging equality. When you acknowledge equality, it's so easy. I'm a married man, 21 years of bliss. And where is all this? Equality. I don't treat my wife like she's some doormat. I respect her. And I've never demanded respect from her for 21 years.
There is debate that women who demand submission, men who demand submission and respect are actually weak men.
Yeah, it's not a debate, it's a truth. It's a truth.
But
it's not a debate.
They're filling of space that is
you see, they're fairly, they're empty inside. And they believe if I demand respect, then I'll become somebody. Then I'll be acknowledged. Then I'll be something. The reality is this. Demanding respect is being disrespectful.
Ouch.
Respect is never demanded. Respect is offered. It's natural. It flows. This is my definition of respect. Love, serving. If I love you, you don't need to tell me to respect you.
So in other words, as men are leaders, they are supposed to be servant leaders.
Servant leadership, that is it. I'm the head. Whoever shall be the greatest among you shall be the servant of all. So what should I do? I'm going to serve you. You're pregnant, I'll go with you through the antenatal. You're pregnant, I'll go with you into the labor ward. I'll hold your hand. We're going to fight together. Oh, that's respecting a woman. When she gives birth, she doesn't go back to her mother. I nurse her. Why? That's respecting a woman. People say men should be respected. Equally, the Bible says women should be respected. And even God puts a caveat on that and says, if you don't respect her,
your prayers won't
be answered.
Yes.
God doesn't put a caveat when it comes to the man. He only puts a caveat when it comes to the woman.
Now, Pastor Cyrus Road, you have shaken many tables. What I see on the comments section is rather interesting. Perhaps John Tebola says a lot of hypocrisy from men of God. Men have never been equal to women. Women are cheating left, right, and center.
That's a hurt person. You see, hurting people hurt others.
Surely, indeed. That's it from today's conversation with Pastor Cyrus Road. Thank you so much. It's been immense and profound.
Thank you for having me, Julie.
And Good Morning Uganda does continue. Thank you so much for choosing UBC TV. Hopefully you've learned a thing or two. Let's take up our positions, especially as those who are called to lead into servant leadership, and everything will fall in place.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, every story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
One-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwao.
A weekly face-to-face conversation focusing on accountability, inspiration, information, and sensitization of the public from the various sources, such as inspirational profiles.
Having disability is not inability.
Every Friday 9 p.m., it's one-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwao.
Don't you see anywhere that you would give a credit in the fight against COVID?
My role as the owner of the country is not to, be preoccupied by giving credit to my servant.
We have said that if we are to talk to General Museveni, there must be certain conditions in place.
Is it true that you paid 5 million shillings to MPs that voted for?
Was brought to you by.
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100*21# and select daily, or use the MyMTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Juko. Yo. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the Parish Development Model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko, I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
In all these years, we emphasize two words, wealth and jobs. And we try to waken our people up to show them where wealth and jobs come from.
The Parish Development Model, PDM, is a bold initiative that is reshaping Uganda's rural economy. By allocating 100 million shillings to each parish annually, PDM empowers households by unlocking opportunities for wealth creation.
This program will be maintained. Each year we send 100 million for the parish. If you get the 1 million, you can buy some goats, you can buy some pigs, you can buy even young cows.
Farmers are transitioning from subsistence farming to commercial agriculture, laying the groundwork for wealth creation and improved livelihoods.
This project started 11 years ago after an inspiration from His Excellency. And that time I was working as a taxi driver. I was doing that master business in Soroti, and he was talking about how to improve household income.
With the PDM, you bring back the money after 24 months, but in the third year, you would get another 100 million paid back by those who got first.
The President's message is a mindset changer. Becoming rich does not mean you should have a lot of land, you should have a lot of education, you just need a vision and implement and start from where you are.
So therefore, this PDM is to get all of you out of poverty. That's why we said 100 million per parish per year.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance.
Feel the passion of Europe's top soccer league. Lukaku! 20 teams battle to win.
And now Dusan Vlahovic! Rafael Leao!
The iconic Serie A Championship trophy.
Barella! Beauty!
This is Serie A, the home of Calcio.
This PDM is to get all of you out of poverty. That's why we said 100 million per parish per year.
The Parish Development Model is designed to eradicate poverty by providing the support necessary for financial independence.
We have seen how 1 million, how much 1 million can do. The whole of Uganda is very rich. So what you call poverty is actually ignorance. We need everybody to come up.
Let us all take advantage of the conducive prevailing atmosphere of political stability, peace and security to ensure that all our people come out of poverty.
And I've told the banks to stop deducting from the 1 million. You must get the 1 million full. The government is the one which will pay the bank charges.
Now the number of stools in this Matoke enterprise are 1,000. They are on 1 acre. And we harvest 17 bunches every day. The money that we get from this Matoke, after selling each bunch at 15,000 shillings, for the whole year, we get 91.9 million shillings. So I want to encourage all the people of Teso, also to change the mindset and adopt to new crops which were not traditionally grown here.
We emphasize two words, wealth and jobs. This PDM is to get all of you out of poverty.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archive stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Amina gange ndetibona Kiranda Amina mu company Air Web Uganda Limited ndi member. Wemba member company eno weyeida twalinga tutuli bulungi ng'abakyala abe wakawaka. Ng'abakyala abe wakawaka tuemera kubaami baife nga bonkana abajamu nanda nga twidi nti abakyala tebakozesa ki nanda. UN Women weyeida yatuteekateeka yatwegesa okulunda engege ng'abakyala. Twatandika beno okudulunda n'okudirisa n'okolaki. Twafunamu ng'abakyala aba Bugiri district. Abakyala ba Bugiri district sofa tuli abakyala 14 abakola project eno eya web. Abakyala 14 twayawula mu sectors. Mulimu abakyala ba production, abaliisa, mwaba abakyala ba validation, abongera engege omutindo bayongerako omutindo. Twaba n'abakyala ba harvesting, aba harvestinga. Twaba n'abakyala abakola aba marketing. Sector donna diri trained era didi kyedikola ki kyedikola. Project eno tufunyemu ng'abakyala. Government yaife ne ya Uganda njebaza okujja kujanga batulingirira mu ng'abakyala abana Uganda. Eri kujanga etulobingira ebibiina bingi. We have UWeb, baleta parish development model. We have Myoga. Byonna biri kwida muki mu bakyala oba mu bantu abaki aba Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
One-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa.
A weekly face-to-face conversation focusing on accountability, inspiration, information, and sensitization of the public from the various sources, such as inspirational profiles.
Having disability is not inability.
Every Friday 9 p.m., it's one-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa.
Don't you see anywhere that you would give a credit in the fight against COVID?
My role as the owner of the country is not to, be preoccupied by giving credit to my servant.
We have said that if we are to talk to General Museveni, there must be certain conditions in place.
Is it true that you paid 5 million shillings to MPs that voted for?
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the MyMTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, good morning once again. My name is Olive Monica Najima. Thank you so much for being a part of Good Morning Uganda Friday special. Now, earlier, we did have a conversation regarding the high rate of domestic violence cases in the country, but also the increasing rate of divorce. Now, we were speaking to Pastor Cyrus Road, and some of your comments, you don't seem pleased by what the man of God had to say about what is supposed to happen between a man and a woman, and many of you are disagreeing that men and women are equal. You're saying men and women are not equal. But anyway, let's move on into our movie recommendations, because this is what we normally do on Friday. We give you a few good movies that you can look out for over the weekend and have a good time, especially if you're like me and enjoy your movies, your Netflix, and chill. Now, the first movie to recommend today is A Working Man, which is a 2025 American action thriller film directed by David Ayer, who co-wrote the script with Sylvester Stallone, and the film is based on the 2014 novel Levon's Trade by Chuck Dixon. It stars Jason Statham and others that I'll mention later. Now, let's look at the plot of the movie. Levon Kidd is a former Royal Marine commando who now works as the leader of a construction team. He's close with the Garcia family that runs the company. When their teenage daughter Jenny is kidnapped by Russian traffickers, Levon takes matters in his own hands to get her back. Now, the organization is run by the Bratva, led by Simon Kachenko. After Levon kills high-ranking Captain Wolo Kolinsk, Simon sends his sons Danya and Vanko after Levon. Levon infiltrates the organization by pretending to be a dealer to get close to Wolo's son Dimi, who runs the trafficking part of the organization. But Jenny's captors, Viper and Artemis, try to sell her to a client, but Jenny bites the man's cheek off and is ordered to be killed until the client changes his mind and wants to try again with her. Let's have a look at the trailer.
I will be your weapons.
So listen, today's gonna be hard. Let's all go home with the same amount of fingers that we came with. Let's get it. When my wife passed and I left the Royal Marines, a lot of people would have given up on me. You gave me a job. You were patient with me. You, Carla, Jenny, you're my family.
Excuse me, it's not your business. I'm good, boss.
Levin, was that some military shit?
Hey, you didn't see anything.
Just get my back if I ever need it.
Jenny's missing. She went out with her friends on Friday.
The police don't have the resources to work these cases. They take a report and forget about it.
Please, find our daughter. Where's the girl?
You a cop?
You wish I was a cop.
Yo, these guys are next level.
Look at those bricks. You ain't a cop. You're a working man.
That's right. Let's play. This isn't just some kidnapping. This is human trafficking. Remember Gunny?
Your blind war buddy that doesn't know he's blind?
That's the one. If you shot a foot to the left, I'll be dead.
I wanted you dead, you'd be dead. I will be your weapon sommelier for this evening. This is the real beast here. The M14, pulled direct from Saddam's palace. Then I added a Bluetooth scope.
Where is she?
There's a special place, high rollers only. They can do anything as long as they pay.
gangs, the mob, corrupt government officials. They're all involved in human trafficking. You're in the payroll too.
You killed your way into this. You're gonna have to kill your way out of it.
Food as much.
All of this is for a girl.
I'm not stopping until I bring her home. That's for slapping that woman.
That woman was my wife.
That's for slapping your wife.
Who are you? What are you?
Well, A Working Man is starring none other than Jason Statham. You've seen him in The Beekeeper, you've seen him in The Transporter, and many other movies of the same nature. He's one actor who will do the same role in every movie, but still you want to watch it because it is awesome. So it is starring Jason Statham as Levon Cade, an ex-Royal Marines commando, now a construction foreman, Jason Fleming as Wolo Kolinsk, and Merab Nindize as Yuri, Maximilian Osinski as Dimi Kolinsky, and many others. Now, the movie was released The movie was wrapped up shooting in May 2024, and it was released in April 2024. The film was set to be released in the United States on January 17th, 2025, but in December 2024, the title was changed from Levon's Trade to A Working Man, with a new release date of March 28th, 2025, and it is out already. Now, looking at the second movie, One Battle After Another, that's the name of the movie. It is an upcoming American film produced, written, and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, and it is scheduled to be released on September 26, 2025 by Warner Bros. Pictures. Now, the premise, we look at when their evil enemy resurfaces after 16 years, a group of ex-revolutionaries reunites to rescue one of their own daughter. Let's have a look at the trailer.
Rise and shine.
Bat an eyelash.
Good morning.
There are no hands on the clock.
Why?
Because they're not needed.
What time is it?
You know, I don't remember that part. All right, let's just not nitpick over the passwords. This is Bob Ferguson. I was a part of the French 75.
Bitch, I felt like Tony Montana!
Steve Lockjaw just attacked my home. And I cannot remember, for the life of my only child, the answer to your question.
Maybe you should have studied the rebellion text a little harder.
I need to find my daughter.
Well, then call us back when you have the time.
You just...
You know, you are so unsuitable for my daughter. My child comes from a whole line of revolutionaries. And you look so lost. What are you gonna do about this baby?
You know what freedom is? What? No fear. Go.
There's 413 out there!
Not one thing, it's another. Find that to be true. I need you, brother. Sensei, please. Courage, Bob. Courage. That's it. Courage. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Hey, thank you, Sensei. Thank you, Sensei. Thank you. God damn it! Viva la revolution!
Not one thing, it's another. Find that to be true.
Well, one battle after another, starring the man himself. You've seen him in the Titanic, you've seen him in The Revenant, Wolf of Wall Street, and many more. The man, Leonardo DiCaprio as Bob Ferguson, Sean Penn as Colonel Stephen J. Loco, then Benicio del Toro, Regina Hall, and September 26th, 2025, and will be the first of Anderson films to be released in IMAX. It was previously scheduled to be released on August 8th, 2025, but it was later moved to 26th September 2025. Now, the next movie is Superman, which is an upcoming American superhero film based on the eponymous character from DC Comics, produced by DC Studios, Troll Court Entertainment, and the Safran Company, and to be distributed by Warner Bros. Pictures. It will be the first film in the DC universe and a reboot of the Superman film series. Now let's look at the premise, which the film explores Clark Kent or Superman's journey to reconcile his Kryptonian heritage with his adoptive human family in Smallville, Kansas. Let's watch the trailer.
Krypto. Home. Take me home.
Superman.
Well, starring David Corenswet as Clark Kent or Superman, Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane, and Eddie Gathegi as Michael Holt. If I'm not mistaken, this Eddie person is Kenyan. Africans are taking Hollywood by the storm. But the movie will be released theatrically by Warner Bros. Pictures internationally on July 9th, 2025, and in the United States on July 11th, 2025. Well, there you go. Look out for these movies. The last two are to be released later on, but then the very first one is already out, The Working Man by Jason Statham. You can look out for that one, and I will recommend some more movies next week on Friday. For now, I'll take a short break, and then Ruben Pima plus Julie Nantava Musisi will be coming up next with sports updates.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Junko.
Yo.
Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the Parish Development Model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sevatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Junko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The Parish Development Model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
In all these years, we emphasize two words, wealth and jobs. And we try to waken our people up to show them where wealth and jobs come from.
The Parish Development Model, PDM, is a bold initiative that is reshaping Uganda's rural economy. By allocating 100 million shillings to each parish annually, PDM empowers households by unlocking opportunities for wealth creation.
This program will be maintained. Each year we send 100 million for the parish. If you get the 1 million, you can buy some goats, you can buy some pigs, you can buy even young cows.
Farmers are transitioning from subsistence farming to commercial agriculture, laying the groundwork for wealth creation and improved livelihoods.
This project started 11 years ago after an inspiration from His Excellency. And that time I was working as a taxi driver. I was doing that Massa business in Soroti, and he was talking about how to improve household income.
With the PDM, you bring back the money after 24 months. But in the third year, you would get another 100 million paid back by those who got first.
The President's message is a mindset changer. Becoming rich does not mean you should have a lot of land, you should have a lot of education, you just need a vision and implement and start from where you are.
So therefore, this PDM is to get all of you out of poverty. That's why we said 100 million per parish per year.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.